Hi folks, I'm Sean, the Modern Yeoman, and although I'd like to think that I've embraced a lifestyle of rugged self-reliance and what Teddy Roosevelt called the strenuous life, the fact is that there are aspects of suburban living that I admit I miss sometimes, namely predictability. While I do love working mostly outdoors nowadays, it certainly beats office work. All of my big plans and projects are largely subject to the whims of nature. For instance, today I was really pumped about picking out the locations for our raised garden beds. I'd even bought these little stakes and some twine to mark out the outlines of those locations. Well, like I said, whims of nature. If you watched my last video presentation, then you'll remember how much snow we got here last week, nearly 6 inches, a rare Tennessee Christmas blizzard. And while it has warmed up and a lot of this snow has melted, this pasture is just straight applesauce, a mucky, sloppy mess that's in no way conducive to any sort of serious planning project. So if predictability is one of the niceties of living in town, what characteristic defines homesteading? Well, something that I think is a lot better than predictability, and that's adaptability. If your plans don't work out the way that you expected them to, do you have the ability to improvise and shift those plans, come up with new plans, come up with better plans? Worse, if things go belly up and you're facing disaster, are you able to pull yourself through that disaster to the other side? I'd like to make the argument that you shouldn't necessarily aim for a life without adversity, but rather a life where you can handle adversity. That's what I'm trying to do here on the homestead. And let's be honest, am I really roughing it here? Of course not. I think of somebody like Dick Proenneke framing a survival cabin out of the Alaskan tundra with his bare hands. This is nothing like that. I have running water. I have dependable electricity. I have high-speed Xfinity. This isn't exactly into the wild. Heck, I live like 25 minutes away from a Whole Foods. The types of challenges that I'm facing are the types of challenges that anyone can face. So with all that being said, here's the situation. I had a set of plans today and, well, I can't act on them. So I adapt. Right off the bat, I can think of 3 things that I can get done today. Number 1, haying out the chickens. Number 2, checking out that weird trailer in the back of our woods. And number 3, something about a backflip. So why don't we get on those things? Let's go. Now, those of you who are unfamiliar with the coop behind me, it's called the Chickshaw Mini-Me, and it's designed by one of my favorite YouTube homesteading gurus, Justin Rhodes. Now, the coop is designed to be very mobile and lightweight, and as such, you don't need to put bedding down inside of it. There's a 1-inch wire mesh frame at the bottom that the chicken droppings just fall right down onto the ground. However, I do like to add a little bit of hay in the winter for 2 reasons. Number 1, even though the chickens are animals and they can stand the cold, that little bit of extra warmth does make them a bit more comfortable. Number 2, all that hay that has all the chicken droppings on it can be used for composting projects. Right now I'm collecting it and using it on the French drain ditch, that bare earth that I dug up a few weeks ago, hopefully to encourage further growth in the spring. So what I'm going to do now is take the old pooped on hay, get it out of here, and put the newer hay in. As you can see, this old hay is just nasty stuff, covered in feathers and bird poop. Perfect for use as compost on the ground. So my second task today is going to be quite a bit different than the first one. If you've been following my channel for any length of time, then you realize how important it's been to me to clean the property up. Now we've got about 10 acres or so on the homestead, and of those 10 acres, I'd say roughly 4 of them are forested. The forest is generally in great condition. There's a nice mix of cedar and sycamore trees. There's a dry creek that pops up after heavy rains, but there are some oddities about these woods, notably some abandoned buildings. Take this trailer, for instance. During the warmer months, we've never really even had a chance to look at it because it was surrounded by thick foliage. Now that it's cooled down and all that foliage has died away, I can finally get a better look at it. It's not pretty. Worst of all, I don't even know what's inside. So I figured today I'd actually go inside and take a look. Let's go. It's hard to tell from out here what this structure was used for. I wonder if it was somebody's house. The door won't even turn. That doesn't look good. The door won't even open. All right, this is in rough shape. It looks like there's an angled desk against this wall. I guess a drafting desk of some kind. And there's some exposed insulation. I wonder if this was somebody's office. The floor is just completely rotted away. And it looks like there's some kind of whiteboard that's down on the ground. Looks like there's a heating vent on the wall over there, so I wonder if they actually had heating here. This place has just been completely taken over by Mother Nature, and it's not pretty at all. I'm not even going to try and step up in here. There's clearly electricity that ran into this building. There's an old circuit breaker box here, and there's a plug on the wall, at least one plug that I can see, 2 plugs that I can see. It looks like there's a phone line that ran in here as well. This is very sad. Whatever it was, it seems like it was somebody's office that they just completely gave up on. Coming down here to the back of the structure, I find a lot of these weird concrete, I guess they're pipes. I'm not sure what they are. Whatever they are, they're covered in moss and still seem to be capable of doing whatever they were designed to do. Again, if it's some sort of pipe, then I might actually be able to salvage these and reuse them. Whatever that was, it's pretty sad to see what it's become, and it's also sad for me to think about because it's going to be something that I'm going to have to get rid of. My third and final task today will definitely be my most difficult. I'll be doing a backflip. Now, quick background on this story. A couple of weeks ago, my friend Nate Kraemer of the Kraemer Life, you can catch his channel up here, we were chatting. We were just talking about things, talking about our YouTube channels. I mentioned to him that my big goal was to get 200 subscribers by the new year. Well, during the course of that conversation, I made the silly claim that if I were to somehow get 300 subscribers, well, I'd do a backflip. Now, Nate, never one to look away from a challenge, said that he was going to hold me to that. I laughed about it and said, sure, okay. Well, fast forward a few weeks, and Nate graciously drops a video where he shouts my channel out. Suffice it to say, not only did my subscriber count go above 300, at last count it was somewhere north of 800. Now, I want to do two things here. Number one, I just want to say that I really am truly grateful for all of the new subscribers to my channel, old and new subscribers. Your presence here means the world to Holly and I, and it really isn't a game to us. You guys are very important to me. The second is I want to demonstrate that I'm a man of my word, and not only am I going to do a backflip, but I'm going to do a backflip from here in the hayloft down to the ground floor of the barn. I've been practicing for a while, and well, I think I'm ready. So no more talking, let's get to it. Now, spectacular as that was, I figured I'd do a cartwheel here as well, just for good measure. Watch out, gals. Until next time, keep warm.